Happy Independence Day, Nigerians. And today is a very wonderful day. Day Nigeria is celebrating its independence. And I am Nico Kikidoze Ikeba and IJ.
Happy Independence Day, Nigeria.
Barry.
Happy Independence Day,
And the
Nigeria.
most.
Happy Independence Day to our mother's land.
Well, 65 years ago, we raised our flags as a free nation, full of hope and a lot of promises. But today we gather not just to celebrate, but to reflect. Our story is written through democracy, tribe, insecurity, economic development, corruption, and the values that uphold us as a people. Each region has its struggles, but we are all going to be discussing Nigeria today. Well, from my right hand is IJ, and she's looking all Nigerian already.
Yes, to my green and white. I'm looking like a Nigerian flag.
Well, let's start by looking at the state of our nation, looking at how democracy has been shaped until this day. At independence, democracy was a thing of pride. But by 1966, coups ended the whole First Republic and civil war followed. And it was only in 1999 that civilian rule truly returned. Since then, we have seen peaceful transition, even the historic one in 2015. But challenges remain. Where do we head from here?
I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, most of the issues that we're seeing now are issues that have existed from time immemorial, from the very foundation of Nigeria. Dating back to 1960, even before 1960, at the time that we said, let's get our acts together, let's come together as a country. I feel like the problem even started from gathering a couple of people that weren't necessarily one and putting us together and forcing us to be a country. And it's good that it turned out well. I mean, beautiful faces and beautiful attires here today. I mean, it's a great thing that it turned out the way it did. But we've had issues with coercion, and particularly with our democracy. I think from where we are coming from, there's been a lot. Like you mentioned, there's been a lot of coups and counter coups, basically because, and this was military stepping in because they felt like our political class was very corrupt. And, this is the same issue we still have today.
Because the president said that he has erased corruption from our system. And if you still mention corruption, one will still be asking the same question that, are we still a corrupt people? Because of our image maker, number one image maker, who is the president of the nation, went out there and said he has wiped out corruption from the country.
Now, the interesting thing is that we're discussing democracy now, right? But I'm very afraid of saying anything before they will call for me like sure. When you say that there's no more corruption in Nigeria, okay. Nobody you go tell us say corruption no day. If there's no corruption in Nigeria, then we shouldn't have. That's on the flip side. Then we wouldn't have need for agencies like the EFCC and the ICPC if there really is no corruption in Nigeria.
Well, there are always bad eggs in every society. I think that's why these agencies are there to actually fish out the bad eggs and take care of the bad ones as quick as possible.
The EFCC is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. I mean, that is them going after corruption. Their main goal is going out after people who engage in economic and financial crimes. That in itself is corruption. So I don't think we can say that those agencies can exist and corruption does not exist.
Because even the military, actually, why they came into play was because they said the civilians were actually corrupt. But even looking at the history of military rule from the days of Muritala, the Buharis, and so even during the Buhari regime, IBB,
Buhari, the general, or Buhari PM?
No, the general, his regime as his military,
Yes.
During his military regime, he was actually ousted because the IBB crew said he was corrupt. Because if you look at the letter from IBB speech the IBB made was because he was removed because he was corrupt and he was allowing corruption to grow, to fester more. But looking at what we have today as a civilian and democratic country, one will begin to ask questions. Are we trying to fight corruption? Are we trying to fight development? Because looking at how our democracy has eroded over time, looking at how voter party has cropped in, people don't really trust the government at the center. Uh, More from your regional perspective, I think we can actually listen to you.
You know, when you asked the question, when you said, like the president said, there's no more corruption. There's no more corruption in the states that were accusing our certain people of budget padding. There's no more corruption whereby the EFCC are declaring former governors wanted. Are you sure there's no corruption? So I feel like it was quite untrue for our number one citizen to go outside and portray. It's just as if you're hungry. There's hunger in your house, but when you go outside and people want to help you, and you say, "No, I'm not hungry." You know that's not true. That's very untrue. So corruption is a very, very deadly disease that we've been battling with since. This is, funny enough, this is not a modern problem. Just like you said, even the colonial leaders, they are corrupt. There have been cases of corruption. We've had cases of corruption in the First Republic. We've had it in the after the First Republic, the first military, the second military during Iransi, the first one there was still case of corruption. The second one, there was still case of corruption where they said they were collecting 10% of contract money and there was misuse of resources. After Gowon, we saw Murtala. He said there was accusations of his government being corrupt. After Murtala, we saw Obasanjo, which that was very, very bad. So we've heard and seen cases of corruption, then of misuse of property, allocation of resources to personal interest instead of these resources should be channeled into his own personal interest. After Obasanjo, we saw cases of even including the interim government. The government of Chief Ernest Shonekan we saw the same issue of corruption. That was why IBB said he came to collect. Shagari, even though his own cases, I'll not look at it as, I'll not really sideline him, but you are the leader. Even if you are not corrupt and corruption is happening under you, you will take the blame.
The box
You are the father
stops
of
at
the
the
house.
table
So
of the
even
president.
his government was corrupt.
I mean, we've gone so deep into corruption.
Honestly.
We're talking about democracy and we've been able to branch.
Honestly, so I think
Yeah,
this is I'm actually happy we're celebrating Democracy Day, but I think I don't know, we're celebrating Independence Day rather, but the big question here is, are we really independent? That's the big question. Are we really independent? Is there anything to celebrate?
Yeah, you raised a very critical question, but I would have loved us to actually tear up more about the challenges that have been facing our democratic setting. Because looking at it from regional perspective, the voter apathy in the southwest, the violence in the election in the north, looking at low trust coming from the southeast, and intimidation in the south. Each region has lived in its own face of democracy. But looking at it from every region, that's why I said we should look at it from the regional perspective. Each region is looking at democracy. Oh, this is how it favors me. The people in the southwest are shouting Emiloko, while from the southeast they are looking at the ones in the north that, oh, you are too dominant and you're not giving us the democratic inclusion.
That's a very big problem, honestly, in Nigeria, because I think that is the reason why even having the whole concept of this Biafra problem. Because one group feels sidelined, and one group, they feel like one group have marginalized the whole governance. Because honestly, to be honest, I think we've not seen any. I'll not want to point out, but I don't know if it's okay for me to point out a specific ethnic group. Okay, we've never seen, since Azikwe, we've not seen any Igbo person in Nigeria. So that's why the Igbo people, parts of the Igbo people feel they've been marginalized. But even though, to come and look at it, how have this democracy affected the common man directly in the regions? These are people, we have the numbers in the north. As they used to say, if you win the north, you've won election. But what has been happening? Is there any development in the north? That's where we see the highest level of Almaji. So I think to me, I don't know. I would need to go deeper on that. I have a lot to say, but we need to go deeper.
More about it's like you're not celebrating the democracy at all.
I will start by grading it as little as saying, what is democracy? We know it is a government or system for the people, by the people. But is that what we're saying? Can you proudly come out and say, yes, Nigeria is practicing democracy? Do you feel represented? Do you feel like the system is for you? Is it by you?
A system that gives power back to the people.
Exactly. This is a system that was saying that even the electoral process is rigged. This is the same system that we can say that it's not representing us. We're always feeling marginalized, like Kabiru mentioned. We're always feeling marginalized. So yeah, we are saying happy Independence Day, happy Democracy Day, but Nigerians are not really feeling it. It's more of like a statement now to us.
For me, when you talk about democracy, the way you said whether democracy is for the people, by the people, at this point, I feel like the democracy is not for the people or for me. I don't think it is for me or by me. I think it is after me.
Exactly. So it's really not making sense because you this is something that okay, it is going to be for you, but then it's now against you. So in that case, should you not even kick out democracy? You can go to the streets now and the celebrations that people used to see. Because I remember if you go online now to look at people's comments, you would realize that people no longer celebrate the democracy day that was celebrated 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago by our fathers or elder brothers. It's no longer the same as now. Meet a teen today now and ask them, what are you celebrating about democracy? And they'll tell you, they really don't know. They just know that it's a public holiday. We're not going to school. We're at home. People just want a public holiday and that's it. We're no longer looking for it to actually celebrate what it signifies.
I think at the end of the day, like I said, these are institutionalized problems that have been there from the beginning of time. It's a problem of corruption when it threats to democracy. And then at a certain level, we've had freedom fighters that have fought for our democracy. We have our founding fathers, people that we know to have fought for our democracy. And I don't know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately, our current president was one of those freedom fighters that fought for the democracy of Nigeria under Nadeko, along with the likes of Chief Dele Momodu, Omoyele, Atiku Abubakar. We have so many people, and not for any of them particularly, but it's very sad to see that these same people who fought the institutions in their time to ensure that the democracy as we know it are part of the problems that we have now that have basically caused our democracy to retrogress. So moving forward, I think for us as a people, for our generation, it is very important that we go back and study these men. We need to study the things that these men did because, to be honest, we have not done half of the things they did. They fought for power. They fought for this democracy that we are all enjoying, or they are enjoying today. And if we are not enjoying it today, it simply means that we have to fight for it, and not with arms, not necessarily with violence, but we need to speak up and we need to take action, and that's where we need to go. We also need our electoral umpires, the INEC specifically, to be seen as independent, because I think democracy, they play a huge role in at the democracy of Nigeria. So they need to be seen as independent, and we as a nation have to enforce that. We cannot have, for example, the president who has particular political interest or party interest dictating who the INEC chairman will be. We've seen that this has not worked for us, and this is something that has caused us to go back. So one, INEC needs to be very fair. Once INEC is fair, our democracy is going to move very, very positive. A lot of people will have more confidence to come out, cast their votes, ensure that their votes are counted. And so I think moving forward, we need to fight as a people, and we need to do something about the independence of INEC. Otherwise, they should just be neck.
Yeah, well, like you said, INEC is actually playing a very, very big role in this whole democratic space. But I also want to look at the legitimacy that the current president fought for 2 years into his administration. He's still fighting for legitimacy up to today, because looking at how INEC turned out, the result in 2023, we looked at how people, the voter apathy affected how people are the turnout, the voter turnout. And one specific thing that was very, very particular about his election was that not the whole percentage of Nigeria are readily available to say, I voted for this man. And this has actually divided us across ethnic line, sentiments. People are saying that this is not my president. Some are saying that Tinubu not my president. This other candidate actually is my president because I feel he won the election. Now that means
you call his name.
Well, because the future demands a stronger electoral laws, technology that actually will not bring glitches like we were told in 2023. Looking at the civic education across region, because many people don't even understand when you tell them that this is the reason why they should vote, because they are looking at it as, oh, I'm voting for this particular candidate. and not voting for my own. Because if we start working across ideological lines, where, oh, I know that if this candidate is coming with education policies that's going to favor my children, or this is coming with technological advancement, this is what he's pitching on. But now we have people telling us that we're going to build roads. And since 1960, we have been told that roads are going to be built.
Men are not built again.
And this is actually where we are looking at new crop of politicians to actually advance our democracy and give us a better,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Anyway, that's to ensure Nigerians feels better and their votes will actually count. I think that's what actually mean by democracy. Yeah. Looking at how we have actually perceived ourselves, tribes, is something that actually I know well, I know will actually touch everybody on his own hand, because one, I'm looking at a Yoruba person and I'm looking at Hausa person differently when it comes to how we treat each other in not just a political space, but even at workspaces, even when you see them in the car or you are in a game shop, there's a way you want to, if someone speaks Hausa to you as an Hausa person, there's a way you treat the person particularly. And if someone speaks Igbo back to me, I will look, oh, one name. So now, if you're a Yoruba person, Owambe, everybody begins to understand that, okay, I'll have to treat person with an affinity that is actually allotted to that person because how I feel about my language being spoken. But I don't see this tribe has helped us actually grow as a nation. I don't know how you feel.
No, I would like to just sharply summarize the whole. Tribalism is a very dangerous thing, like I always say. It's as bad, tribalism is as bad as corruption. Because majority of the problems falls down to tribalism. Let me give you see, sometimes when you look at how the whole Nigeria happened, everybody, all these tribes were independent entities. They had their separate type of political structure. They had their separate religions. They have their separate way of life. Then all of a sudden you ask them to come together. They have no sense of national identity. Then all of a sudden you bring them to come together under one umbrella. Then the problem we always have is some people do not accept the differences they have with others. And that's the major problem. We've had the absence of differential acceptability leads us down to tribalism. Like you said now, as an ideal state, what we're supposed to do is, the first question I'd ask you, oh, you're Nigerian. That should be the first question. But when you go out, the first question they'll ask you, where are you from? That will determine the treatment you'll get.
The profiling.
So you see, that's already a problem. And tribal, you see, sometimes this really makes us to be bad people, if we're going to be honest. When something wrong happens, instead of you to come and defend, okay, this certain person is wrong, but you'd understand that, okay, he's my tribe, then injustice will come in. Then you'd want to support him, even though you know he's wrong. And that's definitely a bad thing. So just to highlight a little of how we've come along with tribalism, let me sharply, you see, we have tribalism during pre-colonial period when these people everybody has his own culture, political system, and religion, but they brought us back into one umbrella, which has not been going well, partially. Then we later moved on to the colonial period. During the colonial period, that was the root for the modern tribalism, because there was different treatment. There were different treatments between the southern region, the western, the northern region, and the eastern region. There was different treatment, which led, because we saw, honestly, we're being honest, there was better treatment to the northern region than any other place, which led to jealousy and hate, to the extent of even leading to riots whereby Igbo people are killed in the north and northern people are killed in the east and the west and the south rather. So that's the colonial period was genesis of this whole tribalism issue. We moved down to post-colonial, whereby, okay, independence, where the independence came. That was when we had the problem of military coup, where only northerners were killed. And that, again, pushed and fostered the whole tribalism issue, whereby, okay, now you've killed my own people, I must revenge. And that triggered again. Even today, you'd understand. You see that, okay, the first thing they do, this, Yoruba, they start fighting. We are all Nigerians. We are facing when we are divided, there's no way we can fight the common enemy. We have one common enemy, but we are divided by ethnic lines, which really puts us down to tribalism. Nigeria is a very beautiful place where you go to Calabar, you go to Borno, you meet people of Shua Arab, you go to Katsina, you meet the Fulani, you go to Ondo, you see the Yoruba people, you go to Benue, you meet the beautiful people of Tiv, you go to Kogi, you see the fine people of Igala and Ibera. But you come what divided us was supposed to make us strong. You meet the Ibibio people, the Efik, you go to Calabar, you see the very good cultural display, you eat very good food. But at the end of the day, where have that taken us to? That has been a barrier to separate us. So I think this tribalism, even though it has not been a good thing, I think this is a wake-up call for Nigerians to show how much tribalism, how worst tribalism are. We are our brothers' keepers. This is when you go outside, you don't miss the only time you meet a Nigerian of different tribe that you see them in good places when they meet outside, when they know they're in another man's land. They will not ask you where are you from, which state are you from. The first question is, you're from Nigeria. This is my brother. So there should be a very proper adjustment. Even honestly,
But I feel like it's not just out there Nigerians unify. Here in the studio, we're unified too.
honestly, no, you know. Oh yes, I'm Hausa. We have Bari.
Yoruba.
He's not Hausa.
I'm not Hausa. I'm not Hausa.
I feel like I'm Hausa. Yeah, Yoruba. He's Igbo. She's Igbo. So the unity is still there, and we can do it.
But
I feel like it's because, at some level, it comes down to the individuals at play, because our politicians have made it their priority to continue to use, like you said, these differences that are supposed to unite us or make us stronger. They've used these differences to weaken us so that they can stay in control. At this level, we know that this is what the game is. When we come here every day, we are happy. We are, like we come, and we never look at it through ethnic colorations. And I know we drag, we drag for a lot, especially today. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where anybody is from, because you're able to talk with. I feel very, very at home. I feel more at home here than I am sometimes when I go to my own place, when I'm amongst my own people, right? And that's really where we need to go to. But the fact that, one politician somewhere can just come out and say one thing and say, they're my brother, or you're my brothers, or this person's on outside, and all of a sudden everybody's like, Yoruba Ronu, everybody starts,
and
it's not necessary.
Like I said, you see, everything. Tribalism follows election violence.
Mm-hmm.
It is tribalism follows nepotism.
Absolutely.
Where you go by, this one is more qualified to get something, but since you are my tribe, I'll give it to you. Tribalism follows corruption. And you see, the tribalism also bring the lack of trust. Because now you see there's somebody, okay, he's not from my tribe. Kai, this guy would not treat me well because he feels like I'm not from his tribe. So tribalism is I think tribalism is a very dangerous weapon used. And you see, we've seen it now. We've seen how you'd see people, okay, maybe just a little fight between one person of this tribe and one person, and this will lead them to go and attack a whole tribe settlement.
Yeah.
So that's one of the effects of tribalism.
Also, looking at it from another angle, I think this actually gave birth to the turn by turn, the rotational kind of government.
That was just a solution to block the whole.
Yeah, because oftentimes the North have been accused of dominance in politics, while the Southwest are looked at, they are too proud and looking at it like, their own education. Why the Southeast is looking at, I'm the owner of business, I do business better. But like you said, what actually divides us?
I'm sorry. These things that you said now, it's not like they're actually facts. The Southwest are some of they're easily the most educated tribe in the entire country. There's no gainsaying. The Igbo people, if they saying, if you go anywhere and you want to do business and there's no Igbo man there, run.
Business is not
So it's a thing. The North knows how to wield power. They know how to hold power. You cannot take it away from them. But again, these are things that should bring us together, because when you have a great leader who is thinking right at the center, I don't care if he's a northerner and he's sitting there, he knows how to harness the energy of somebody that is smart from the southwest, how to harness the business acumen of somebody from the southeast. It makes for a greater nation.
And you see,
That's
this is not, like I said, it's a very common, because you see in the First Republic, the problem we always had, even the parties that were there were based on ethnic lines. And that was also a genesis for tribalism. Okay, the AG is dominated by Yoruba people, the NPC is dominated by the northern people. That was a genesis for tribalism. We're Nigerians, all of you should come under this party and do this.
Ideology, not
Honestly.
The same way this tribalism creates barriers, I believe religion also played a major role in creating this barrier, because religion is no longer a thing of unity. It has now turned to a tool of creating barriers between people. The same way we use tribalism to divide ourselves, saying, okay, this person is from here, this person is from here. We are also still using, because the political elites are using religion to counter us, to fight against us. Because I will give you an example. Religion has played a role, it has played a role in religious extremism. It has also played a key role in the makeup and growth trends between the citizens of Nigeria. The two major religions in Nigeria are, Muslims and Christians, where you go to places of worship. It's supposed to be for worship, but it has turned to political grounds. You go to the church and you see people preaching politics. You go to the mosque and you hear people preaching politics. Meanwhile, it has nothing to do with the religion. Where I'll pick up from now here, creating barriers, for example, the religious extremism, where Boko Haram started from, the north, where the alleged ideology there is that the Western education is wrong. We have our own educational system and whatnot. But then what people fail to realize, and because there's something stigmatized for those from the north, that okay, you guys do not like education, you're against education. Meanwhile, we have top educated people from there. They have the likes of Tafawa Balewa. You could hear his English and then you'd be like, is this a white man? Or if you heard his voice without seeing his face, you would think it is a white man. So where were those people? Why were those people not against education?
Calm down.
Well, that will also still be the case.
Pleasantly surprised the first time I heard Tafawa.
Exactly. Even if you play that voice,
the first time you saw me after hearing my voice, how did you feel?
Well, when you achieve what Tafawa Balewa achieved, we will recognize your voice too. But then let's stay on focus here. The point I'm trying to make here is that education is a very crucial thing, regardless of where it's coming from. In Islam, the first verses that were revealed, to the Prophet was that read, seek knowledge. The Prophet was an illiterate. He could neither read nor write. But when the angel came to him, the first thing he commanded him was to read, to show you the importance. It was not worship God. It was not kill. It was not love. The first thing he was told to do was to seek knowledge, to read. So you can imagine the Boko Haram are telling you that do not go to Western education or do not seek education. They themselves do not seek the Islamic education that's there, the core principles and values. If you sought that knowledge, you would know that what you are doing is wrong. To deny someone from seeking knowledge is wrong. You have to study two parts to understand.
Well, religion in Nigeria is actually something that is very, very sensitive. It's a sensitive conversation to every individual, because everybody perceive or act or begin to relate with you how your faith dictates to them.
Well, that's
now, if they see you as a Muslim, I believe that once you tell me Astaghfirullah, I know that, this person is a religious person and is deep into it. But looking at how we have been able to shape the Sharia law, how people begin to look at you when you drink beer in Kano, and this same beer in Kano, you see a Muslim person in Ilorin taking the beer comfortably and no Sharia law is blocking the person. And now looking at where people now tell you that the economic value the resources that is coming from the beer is also used to develop places in Sokoto, Kano, Katsina. Now, this same religion is what has actually been used to divide us.
Exactly.
These things you said are the exact things that have been used to divide us. Because for one, when you say a Muslim in Ilorin is drinking beer, while a Muslim in maybe Kaduna is not drinking beer, it is the Muslim that is, or not the geographical location. If you're a Muslim and Islam says don't drink. For example, today I had intentions of bringing something, and I remember I was like, okay, they're not going. It's not about where you're from. The religion says don't do this, but then these people have a way of crafting it and say, okay, you're from here, so the laws are a little lax in the south. It's not. Islam is Islam across board. Whatever is wrong, regardless of. So if you claim to be a Muslim, then you must practice exactly what he said, regardless of where you're from. And then this conversation of, the North benefiting from taxes from alcohol when they don't consume alcohol is also politically motivated.
True.
That's exactly what I would say. Because yes, I don't drink alcohol. However, the taxes that are generated are taxes for the building of the nation. So if it is used to build the North, then so be it. It is taxes that are generated for the nation. Now, it's our politicians, and these things are mischievous, very mischievous people instigating these things, so that some people in the South now come to say, why are they giving them this money when they're not drinking? It's very unnecessary. We continue to create enmity between us and our brothers. It's very, very unnecessary. And then it is sad that some of the people that are directly involved in this, or the people that are supposed to be gatekeepers, are supposed to prevent this, are enablers. You look at our pastors, our bishops, our imams, very culpable in these things. Now, we as a people too, we are also culpable, because we cannot now turn these leaders, religious leaders, to gods. As a Christian, I know who God is. I know who my pastor is. He's supposed to be like a shepherd. You, as a Muslim, you know who your imam is. You know who your God is. So I understand that, yes, you are my pastor, you're my spiritual leader, but you are not God. And you have access to the Quran. I have access to the Bible. You cannot tell me, if you say I should vote for a political party, show me where in the Bible it says I should vote for that political party. Back it up. Because we are not supposed to be stupid. So as I cannot swallow everything that has come from somebody just because in the Bible, as a Christian, it says test everything. And so I will test. I will not swallow everything that you say, who Christ is, just because you're who you are. And then you, as a religious leader, there's a huge responsibility on you to ensure that you're not leading your congregation or the people that are listening to you astray. Take that position and don't be swayed. And when any leader does that, when any religious leader does that, then that person is selfish and is not deserving of the position that they are holding. But then it is not my call. It is not in my place to judge them or to bring them, because it's a spiritual call. It is between them and God, the God that they claim to serve or profess to serve. It is between them, and that's it. That's how I leave it. But then on my own end, I am not obliged to take anything you say. I will listen, but I'm not obliged to take anything. And that's why Nigerians need awakening.
From an Islamic perspective, to what I just said, you see, Islamically, sir, as a religious leader, you knowing and leading people wrongly, your punishment is higher than someone that does not even know. You rather not know than know and lead people astray. Religion, religious institutions, religious places are not places for political campaign. They are not.
They shouldn't be.
It's supposed, in a working system, this should be a crime. If you want to, okay, you are a citizen, then you remove your title and go as a citizen. You tell them, me as a Nigerian citizen, you should not fall under religion. You are in no position to use religion as a mechanism for your political interest. They will tell you, okay, vote a Muslim for what? Where in the religion did it tell you vote a Muslim? The religion told us, vote, get good leadership. There is no place that the religion was special. The only thing I know it said was, men should lead.
Well, Mo, I'm actually looking at it again from another perspective. Our constitution actually allows us the freedom to practice whatever or whichever religion we choose to. But looking at how we have perceived each other, whenever blasphemy is mentioned in the North, we know exactly what tool it is. I've lived some part of my life in the North. And when you see them engineer the tool of blasphemy against you, sometimes it's not blasphemy, but it's actually a tool to prosecute you because you're actually not in favor of the person's argument, sometimes in the North. And looking at how we have been able to use this religion as a tool to foster our relationship, I think most people see their religion as superior to the other person's own, and which causes conflict most of the times. Because if I see Barry as let me just, she's a traditional worshipper, and I am a Christian. and sorry to pick on you on that. And you are a Muslim. The first thing that comes to my head whenever I want to, at this position, oh, he's a Muslim. I withdraw. What is your benefit from you? Now, I see you as a traditional worshipper. You are not a traditional worshipper. Then I withdraw your benefits from you. Now, when I see my Christian brothers, I'm quick to quickly, oh, come together. Let's feed on the
National cake.
cake. Now, leaving out the Muslim and the traditional worshipper.
This function is just as bad as tribalism. I think religious.
I think
that's why
it's just as bad
That's
as
why it
tribalism.
creates barriers. It creates
I
unnecessary
want to address what
barriers.
you said too about the blasphemy, and I think sometimes it's a matter of religious tolerance. Like you said, there's no religion that it supersedes. Someone asked me a question when I was younger, and I think it changed my perspective on a lot of things. When they first asked me, "Are you a Christian because you're a Christian, or are you a Christian because you were born into a Christian home?" At that moment, you realize, that okay, let's go back a little. You're able to understand people better, because if somebody came now and tried to convert me to any other religion, it's going to take a lot, because this is something I have known all my life. This is my truth. It's my truth. It's my story, and so I understand. That KB, for example, you've been a Muslim all your life. I can't come now and start telling you this. I respect that this is his religion, and that's what we do. We need to understand. We have to have religious tolerance, tolerate other people and their religion. I cannot come and make a mockery of your religion. Sometimes you say that is blasphemy. Let's be honest, sometimes we say very ridiculous things about other religions or tribes just because we don't understand them. I can't come out and mock the way that you practice your religion. I can't mock the way that you dress, according to your religion. Someone said, when you see, we mock women that are Muslim because they cover their entire body. But how about nuns? They do just the exact same thing. And we don't mock them. It's okay. It's normal. So we have to be tolerant of everybody else's religion. I cannot force you to see things from my perspective. And I think your perspective is great the way it is. So it's about us tolerating each other. Sometimes I don't think that the consequences are appropriate. You can't go out and kill somebody just because they blasphemed. However, sometimes we are guilty of saying things that are very inappropriate about somebody else's religion. I think we should be very tolerant and be careful of what we say.
I know that's why I add on the fact that educating yourself on whatever you believe in is very important. Even on religious basis, it's really, very crucial. Because just to sum it up, we're talking about tolerance. I will tell you that if you go to the corner now, possibly, and you mention to someone, a random, passerby, telling them that a Muslim man is allowed to marry a Christian woman, they would deny that, they would disagree. Without going, they have no idea that it's actually allowed. It's there in the Quran.
Yes.
You are allowed to
As a
marry a
man.
Christian woman because you're allowed to marry women from the monolithic region, not just a Christian woman. You're allowed to marry a Jew. It's allowed. And this just shows you how tolerant religion, the actual religion is, not the ones that people come out to politicize and say, okay, you can't do that. Wherever this person is from that person, no.
Like I said, majority of people that do this, they don't even properly know the
Exactly.
religion. There is no way.
So
there's no place inside the religion
So
where they say you must
what
force
are you
somebody
practicing?
inside.
What exactly are you practicing? So even the cases where they say, okay, this person committed blasphemy, and then you took matters into your own hand, on what grounds? What do you know about the religion to that extent?
As Chief
And
Justice.
you see,
Just jury and execution are on the streets.
Even in the book, they said, if you commit blasphemy, what is supposed to be done? You should be taken to the law.
Yes.
The law would decide. Right now, like this I'm talking to, we have a case of one imam that made a speech. He's not killed. He was taken to the law. He's with the law right now. That's what the law said. That's what.
And he's a Muslim. The people they usually lynch for blasphemy are not even Muslims in the first place.
I see this lynching as I used to connect it. It's like it's a double-edged sword. It's a twin brother to jungle justice.
True.
When somebody commits a crime, he steals something. Before they would even, the one that would take him to the station, to the law, anything, people have already come and committed jungle justice. It's just the same thing with this blasphemy. These people are supposed to be taken to, and now you see, like I just said, religious tolerance is a very big thing. And Nigerians need to wake up and understand that this religion is used as a tool to divide you people during political because you see they'll tell Arni is a Christian.
Exactly.
So I don't feel like Nigerians fail to see what is done with this.
Just finally,
I know we have taken a lot on this religion, and it's a very sensitive topic. But the most sensitive question I need to ask is, has religion helped us develop as a nation? Because looking at how much infrastructure that we need as a country to grow, from 1970s, railways were built. It was not because of prayers. but because of the commitment of our leaders to actually build a nation. So I would like us to go into how much development have been created through religion. And if not, it has helped us. How well are we as a people? Because we know countries who are not dependent on religious sentiment, how they have been able to grow. And we are looking at ourselves. Power up to today is a problem. Looking at how we grow crops from the north to bring them down. Even people grow, what's it called? Propaganda to say foods coming from the north is poisonous. Don't eat suya from an Hausa man because
Well, I want you to say
because so now looking at how well has this religion and looking at the development settings that we have created for Nigeria and Nigerians to grow, and we are looking at it from the perspective of, are we actually playing with our development, or are we just trying to just pamper it at the surface level?
Well, I would say religion has aided development tremendously to the political elites. To the political elite. We have seen politicians, Muslim politicians, going to the church, honoring the church, taking up their hats, and attending a church service for someone for their interest. These are people who have actually, whether they have studied religion or not, you can see how much they can tolerate because they're in power. You've seen Christians honoring the Muslims. When they go to the north, they wear their dress. But how many commoners, how many common citizens would you see wearing the attires of a Southerner or an Easterner? They'll say, no. There's that tribalistic hate, there's that religious hate. So yes, it has helped the political elites. Those that is supposed to help the most, it has not helped them. And like you mentioned, how religion has divided us because it has created a barrier to the extent that we are supposed to be united. What the north is producing should be taken to the south and the east, and what the east is producing, we'll take it. And whatever the religion does not allow, for example, if we are farming pigs in the east, we know that okay, the Muslims don't eat it, so we cannot export that. And there's something that the north produces that we know that Christians don't eat over there in the east or in the west.
But there are Muslims in the east as well.
As simple as that. So there is that unity that has to be there. What I'm just trying to drive at is that the hate that we have, the fictional hate that we have for those that are not in our religion, it's not helping us because who are the people killing you? For example, now, Boko Haram are alleged Muslims. Who are they killing the most? Where are they situated? In the north with their fellow Muslims. Who are they killing? Their fellow Muslims. So what exactly are you against? The same thing with the bandits and whatnot. These are people that are claiming your religion. These are people that will quote the same verses of your religion and then yet they are the ones attacking you. Is that not an eye-opener? That a Christian is not the one who is against you. Fight who is against you. Stop protecting those just because you believe you share the same religion. No. Your religion fishes out terror. Your religion tells you to be against people. So yes, like I mentioned, religion has helped the political elites, but where it matters, it has not functioned properly.
Well, I believe that we are human before religion, tribe, or sentiment. Looking at our developmental growth and infrastructural growth as a nation, as it stands today, one critical thing that actually gives me major concern is power. Because I have a cousin who always tells me, he lives in Australia, and he tells me that, if Nigeria has adequate power today, there's nothing stopping us from actually doing the best that we can do. I'm talking about the infrastructural developments in Nigeria, how far we have gone, and where we are today as a people. In the north today, we have railways going from Abuja, going into Zaria, we have the one actually linking to Port Harcourt on the way. So, but today we are not even talking about power as it should be. Most tech jobs that we have now are actually linked to power. Most of our independence growing up, we actually knew that we were not actually having issues of power back then. But now, the money that we have spent on this critical infrastructure, looking at the passenger regime, about 18 billion, everything has gone into the dam. And where I say dam, the Kanji Dam, we can't find it anymore. And today, we have the president saying that he's building solar energy at the Aso Villa. So I'm just looking at how far have we gone as a nation, infrastructurally?
Well, when we're talking about infrastructure, I believe we're still breaking it down to how much we have developed. We've just spoken about how has religion divided, or has it pushed the progress of development in the country in general. But then also, when we say infrastructure, we're still talking about economy. What does the North have? What does the South have? What does the East have? You understand? From independence, from 1960 to date, do we really have anything to show for it? Because we've mentioned how we've been saying we're building roads, we want to build roads, we're building roads. And they will still have certain states that if you go to, you are driving on the road, you are in a bus. But then how do you explain to a foreigner that even on that bus, you still have to pass through water? Your bus will get into a canoe, cross the water.
You are going too far. In front of in Asokoro, in front of
Exactly.
the road
For
that
every
leads to state
rainfall.
liaison offices, that leads to
Maybe.
For every
foreign
rainfall, there's a mini
embassies
fish
is
pond.
flooded
At
as
this,
we
at this
speak.
point, maybe we should be buying
As
canoe
we
and be
speak.
putting canoe in our boots.
If you want to go to Asobile now, you might probably swim a little before you
Exactly.
get.
Whenever there is rainfall, so what infrastructure are we even talking about? We have not even gone past the basic one. Where we have seen countries not even doing railway going through buildings. Nigeria doesn't even have a railway that can travel the 36 states. Someone that is staying as close as Kaduna, if he has a work in Abuja, he has to move himself down to Abuja. He can't just wake up 6 a.m., take a bullet train down to Abuja. By 4, 5 p.m. he's done. An hour, he's back again in Kaduna. He can't. So where really is the infrastructure? Personally, I feel like this is not something we can even celebrate. Because the independence and democracy encompasses all these things when we are discussing. And it is not being represented enough for Nigerians to celebrate. I believe this year, this whole celebration of March Parade was even cancelled. The streets are not even bubbling with people with flags. When it's usually Independence Day, cars come with their flags. Kids are always with their, their mini flags.
That's
How much is fuel?
So
Like
at this
the
point,
first
we might no
question
longer
I
be
asked.
needing the roads for cars. We'll be needing the roads for trekking. It should be more suitable for trekking. Maybe we'll start planting carpet grass all around. That you don't know you can even walk barefoot, because it's no longer making sense at this point. We're not really seeing infrastructure. What does the country boast of out there? This is 2025. We're moving to AI. We're moving to things that used to seem almost impossible decades ago. But Nigeria cannot really relate, if not for social media. So yeah, I would say infrastructure, personally, we're not really going anywhere with that.
Well, why I brought that into the conversation is because religion, democracy are all tailored down to the development of everyone as a citizen. But the problem that we have as a people is because if I know that the people of Ekiti should benefit from this infrastructure, and I'm still looking at how corruption will actually stop development in a particular area. But because I know that the kickbacks are not coming directly to my own pocket, or I don't have a government which is actually a company that can stand in there, so I begin to re-engineer you back and forth. But looking at where we are going as insecurity has actually manipulated us as a people further, because today, if we look at how the news that we hear in the public space, today, Kwara is no longer safe. Abuja is not even safe.
Just in Nigeria is not safe.
Why are you hiding? Just because at this point, I don't know what I'm going to ask.
Where is safe? Where is safe?
Where is safe?
I think the only place safe is right now in the studio. Because,
Are you sure?
well, I might begin to call on the CSO to check on the loopholes that we have infiltrated. But looking at exactly how our country, because the borders of our country have become very, very porous, and we cannot even lay hold of who comes in through these borders and who actually is a citizen of this country. Because even when you are traveling to, some of us have been privileged to travel outside of this country, and you get to the airport, it's easy for them to just quickly get your passport, scan your passport, and know that you're not from. But coming into Nigeria, we have other borders, other airports, where I call them Appian ways, that you can use to come into the country. And this has actually made us more insecure as a people. Because even a governor of Kwara today cannot tell you that he knows the people that are actually ravaging his country.
How would he know?
He's sitting.
I won't take note.
Because as a person, he's just flying around. He was yesterday in Imo State. While his country was, sorry, why do you call it?
Kwara is a
I keep
different
calling it. I think it's a different. I think Kwara is a different country entirely right now because they are suffering a high escalation of insurgents. But the government is
Where is
downplaying
not
it.
suffering insurgents in Nigeria?
Your capital is
It's under siege. As we're celebrating Independence Day today, there's a young lady who is not here to celebrate it in the federal capital territory.
not too far
That
away
is
from the
not too far, in one of the finest areas in Abuja. You know, and it is very sad. We talked about this, and you know, Kibi was asking yesterday, do you know how many Ubers, how many Corollas they will need to move 15 people?
It's so ridiculous.
You know, it's 4. 1, 2, 5. Okay, 5. Let's do 5. You will need 3 cars.
Then they own large guns.
And
Okay, so they need space.
They will need
in the
space.
same FCT that today that was celebrating Independence Day, that the FCT minister here, so we can just said that Abuja remains one of the safest. If the safest is one of the safest cities in
Then there's
Nigeria,
a
one
problem.
chance.
is having
Then there's a
assassinations.
problem.
Is having assassinations and bandits, and like 5 notorious bandit leaders
They
were
stole
arrested
car from
in Abuja.
police force headquarters.
I was just waiting for him to land because you are talking about FCT. The people who are carrying the responsibility of taking care of lives and property actually
They robbed
their
them.
car
their own property.
was stolen
from their
Their own
from
headquarters.
their headquarters.
They stole from police.
So who is secure? If the police, even the other day in the same Kwara, we found out that NSDC people were actually being killed.
They were killed in Edo, they were killed in Kogi.
So who is now safe again?
The problem is that God they protect us. That's why
This
religion
point.
is important.
You know, like I remember a meme I saw talking about what insurance package the Nigerian families and households usually subscribe to. And someone said they subscribe to the insurance of blood of Jesus. Because it's the safest, it's the only thing you can, you know, assure yourself that, yeah, this is what is protecting me at this point.
You see, insecurity. Every day. For the last month, every single day, I have to discuss insecurity. Every single day. Just this week.
It can't be like
I
the
think just Villa, the backyard of Villa here, Katampi. Somto was killed due to insecurity. At the backyard of Villa, I'm putting emphasis at the Villa backyard. Gunshots will happen for back of the house, we enter your house.
They've come to Asu Rock.
But look at the history of insecurity. It's just like tribalism. It has a very long history. During the pre-colonial era, where we've had the Aba women, Aba women, we've had the Ekumeku movement. That's all pre-colonial. During the colonial self, we still had military coups. Military coups have happened. We've had massacre of the northerners in the east and massacre of the east Biafra people in the north. And during the military era, we still had issues of insecurity. We've had issues of, but those ones are organized crimes, like that of Lawrence and those kind of cases. We've had cases like that. But this problem persists down to the democratic era. Even the democratic era, we are still having issues of insecurity, Niger Delta militants, we've had Boko Haram. But let's look at it from 2010s IG down to now. The issue of insecurity. Is it that it evolves or what? Insecurity. Since from 90s, even now we're still facing. Now the challenges we face down from 2010, we're having terrorism, Boko Haram, we're having banditry and kidnapping, we're having farmer-header clash. Not only that, we're having Niger Delta military, we're having separate movements, we're having cultism. We're having the issues of cultism. We're having the clash of security agencies. So insecurity has been a very, very, very long thing we've been talking about, which really affects us. Boko Haram, from Boko Haram in the northeast, kidnappings now everywhere. Kidnappings now, we cannot even see it in the specific region. It's everywhere. Kidnapping everywhere, north central, northeast, too. Even if it's there on top sky, kidnapping, there's a potential you will be kidnapped. At this point,
It's crazy.
At this point, so we are not even done with the issues of cultist clash. Now we're fighting with another one. So insecurity is a very, very broad thing, and it has affected us. So we are celebrating. Why are we not? Let's even look at it like this. They said that there's not going to be an Independence Day parade. Why? They said there's an insecurity threat. insecurity threats today. They said the parade itself is not going to hold because
So
they
you
said
can
there's
imagine.
So what's there to celebrate? When you cannot even celebrate, there is no security for you to even celebrate.
So who was coming out to say that it is the safest?
So I don't know, maybe he's on Jack Daniels. You know, he said he has 40-year-old whiskey. Maybe he's on his 40-year-old whiskey. That's why he said, because
40-year-old.
you said there's no Abuja is safe. Yet you cannot even hold Independence Day
You
parade.
need to
For
see
the
the-
first
you need
time
to see
in
the
how many
convoy they
years?
move with.
For God's sake. But yes, you see one man moving with 20-25 cars.
Mm.
If it's safe, what do you need all that thing for? Are you fighting Boko Haram? So you see, insecurity is a very large topic that I don't see. Even insecurity is enough reason for us not to even. There's nothing to know that there's nothing to celebrate. There's nothing to celebrate. So I don't know. The summary of all what I said is the history of Nigerian insecurity is traced back to colonial resistance. Here we've had insecurity long as about women riots, the Ekumeku movement, down to military regime where we're having organized crimes like arresting Lawrence Anini, a very, very high thief, a very strong thief, a strong one. So insecurity is a very long thing. That's why I said insecurity is a very big problem that I know there's no reason for us to celebrate and there's nothing. But I don't know. The matter of this insecurity is like you might really look at things I don't know, but insecurity is one of the genesis of our problem. And insecurity to me, it hinders economic development.
I agree with you completely. I mean, when we look at the priority of every government should be the safety of the lives of its citizens. Because regardless, I won't make money. Now, person where they're alive, they make money.
Sure.
I think the most important thing, if you agree with me, health, wellness. But first of all, before you start thinking of any of these things, you have to be alive. And the fact that in the federal capital, the capital city of Nigeria, the same place where the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is residing, that we don't have security, is a huge cause for concern. It's a huge cause for alarm. We've had insecurity, we're looking at over the years. I think we're seeing it at its peak.
True.
So we've had certain issues, before in the past. We used to see things like, it started small, but then we started seeing militancy in the South. For militancy in the South, we now, then we're still trying to, it was still basically political at that point, because people were saying that when a northerner is in power, there's problem in the South. When a southerner is in power, there's problem in the North. But now it doesn't matter who is in power, obviously, because it didn't touch everybody. Now that small baby violence that people groomed has turned into a full-fledged dragon that is consuming the entire country. We have banditry in the Northwest. We have Fulani headsmen. We have Boko Haram. We have ISWAP. We have
cultists,
separatists, IPOB. We have cultists. We have militants. We have everything. Everything.
The only thing that we don't have is security.
No, we have everything, but the one that we are supposed to have.
Everything that we're supposed to have, really. And it's very, very sad, because the fact that, talking about something, for example, people come out and say, may Nigeria not happen to me. And I'm very annoyed, because there's an active campaign by the National Orientation Agency trying to turn it into a good thing and say, may Nigeria happen to you. For everybody that is behind that campaign, may Nigeria happen to all of them. It is very, very sad.
Nigeria will happen to you,
really,
but it will not
honestly,
happen to me.
Because she said, may Nigeria not happen to me or anybody that I know. And that was just a month ago. And 1 month after, Nigeria happened to her. I don't know how I feel. I feel very sad, very angry that these things continue to happen, regardless of the huge amount of money, billions, trillions that is spent on security. We've spent so much on security. We should see more at this point. We've moved beyond kidnapping. I didn't even mention kidnapping. Insecurity has become very lucrative in Nigeria because our leaders have let it be so. Something has to be done, and I don't know. The fact that I'm very annoyed with so many security agencies. They try, right? Some of them try. They're putting in their best. Unfortunately, we are seeing what we are seeing.
The command is corrupt.
Everything fails. We know there are bad eggs, there are corrupt officials, that are responsible, that are making sure that these people are even killed in the line of duty. So there's a lot of, it's an endemic problem. There's a problem of funding, and not whether it's not from the budget. The funding actually getting down to where it's supposed to get down to. So there's a problem of funding. There's a problem of corruption. There's a problem of
lack of accountability.
There's a lot of problems, and at the end of the day, the government that can solve first and foremost the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is a government that the entire country will wholeheartedly stand behind, beyond party lines, beyond religious, tribal lines, because at the end of the day, at the basic level, everybody wants to be safe. So it's a bad thing that our borders are porous, but if the borders are porous for them to pursue these people out.
And you see,
I feel insecurity has become a campaign promise that can never be delivered. It's always every campaign slogan, we're going to deliver security to the people.
No, apart from Edo. Somebody promised insecurity intentionally.
Actually, it is always a campaign promise. But we've seen Nigeria over time deteriorate. Nigeria has become more unsafe now than it was 10 years ago. My parents were talking to me, and then they were saying there are certain things that they could do in their time they can't even dare let us do in our time. Then they could, young children could go out and at certain times, like from certain young ages, and the parents wouldn't even care. But right now they can't. I mean, my parents told me they would trek long distances to school and go there, and their parents are not thinking, will they be kidnapped or this.
Can you trek to Zamfara now? Can you even go to Zamfara?
Somebody trek for Buhari.
Can you talk? With Kasem now?
Can you go to night bus? The night bus that people were entering.
So we've reduced the issue of security to campaign promises that can never be delivered. And it's really sad. I just hope we see a vicissitude in this.
To go down this insecurity, you see, some people still do not understand how insecurity affects us as a state. Number one, insecurity hinders economic development, whereby businesses will not foster, businesses will not flow. How do you expect somebody that have goods that are from Lagos going to Zamfara? What if bandits burn the car? So you see, it will affect economy. Tourism. You as a white person, if you were not Nigeria, I'll ask you, okay, we have sites.
This time around.
we have tourist sites. We have Kajuru Castle in Kaduna, where it has been there since before colonial reign. It's been there. It's a very big castle. We have Yankari Game Reserve. We have Obudu Cattle Ranch. We have a lot. But as a white person, with the things you are hearing happening, will you go?
No,
you won't. So you see, this affects tourism. This affects economy.
Yeah.
Psychologically, it affects us.
Yeah.
When you hear now this girl and Somto that was killed in Katampe, everybody in Abuja now is shaking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know, it might be you tomorrow at this point. So now you see it affects people, even psychologically, it affects us. So some people don't really understand how it affects us economically. That's our pocket too. Because imagine that person that now his goods are burnt. Do you think he's going to, the goods are there, is he going to replace the money from heaven? If he's selling it 15 naira, he'll sell it 150. So everything, imagine this is the country whereby goods are not supposed to be started. Okay, I don't have these goods because his goods have been burnt, or the goods, or police said
because of the risk of passing.
No, I mean the trailers have police said you should give them their share. So insecurity is a very deadly thing that Nigeria, that the government needs to, and not only the government, even people that have hands in this. God would expose anybody. That's our prayer. Because Nigeria must be saved by the grace of God. Nigeria must prosper by the grace of God. Nigeria must progress by the grace of God.
And the strength of our leaders that we elected to do.
Honestly, because this really comes down to what's the efforts of our forefathers. This really comes down to nothing. If we are not even, we can, honestly, they'll be like, if you tell them, now if you wake people like Amadu Bello, they will cry. They'll be like, they do not believe Nigeria will ever come down to this level.
They would have left it to the white man.
They will be like, they should have because they will never believe Nigeria will come down to the level that you cannot even go wake up and go to your village to see your grandparents, because they will carry you and the grandparents. So this is very shameful, the matter of insecurity. Well, maybe I think IJ have more to tell us on economy and economic development.
I mean,
we discussed.
for
Sorry,
economy,
let me
haven't,
not call.
we
Let me
haven't.
call IG. For economy, I believe we discussed it. It also affects the infrastructure. The only one of the notable things I will just say is, even though it's sad, it's something to celebrate, but then it's sad because
Very sad.
out of 4 refineries that we have in the country, the 5th and only one that is working belongs to a private individual, someone that chose to be
what I want
patriotic.
to ask is why are politicians bad businessmen when they are in politics? Because
They
most of
treat
these
their own
politicians
business.
are very successful
Businessmen.
business people that turn in profit, manage large conglomerates, big businesses that turn profit yearly, big funds. So how can they not manage? How can they not, now that you have more resources? Because the budget that Nigeria has is even more than the budget that you have as a private businessman. You have access to the best minds, the best resources. There are people that are willing to work. There are people that are willing to dedicate their time on taxpayers' funds, not your personal pocket. So it's a simple question of why are you people terrible at managing when it comes to the nation? So it's because obviously we look at all the issues: nepotism, tribalism, religion, all of these biases make it impossible for them to bring out the best people to do the job. But then when it comes to economy, for me, it is just sad that we moved from a time when the 1 naira was $1 to today. In fact, even less. There's a time that I think 10,000 naira was 13. 10,000 naira was 13. Like it was equivalent. 1 naira was like one. The naira was even greater than the US dollar. We had crude oil. We still have crude oil, but we've been governed by thieves.
The biggest
By
threat
thieves.
of the day, corruption.
It is corruption, really, because these people are not people that are patriotic, people that have the interest of the entire country at heart. The fact that we've moved from $1 to 1 naira to $1 to 1,545 naira thereabout is a problem, and that's something that we need to look into as a nation. We don't need an economist. We don't need huge policies. We need leaders that care. Leaders that are not as selfish, because all the monies that we see flying left, right, center, we moved from the days of Ghana must goes to the days of dollars, to the days of what are we at now? Very soon, our people will start doing crypto. Now, money is just we moved to even the animal era. We passed through different eras. The era that was
swallowing
animals were moving money to in Nigeria. We have moved from that era now. Maybe it's crypto that we are looking at now. They're moving. It's systemic. We're moving from one new. Okay, no. At this point in time, we've not gotten into crypto. I think we're at the era of sharing money. So it's giving cash to citizens.
I think we're still up
Why
to crypto
are we
because
giving cash
by
and carry?
next year now there will be taxes on crypto.
But my point is
No, it's more like it's not what's affecting our Nigeria. Crypto is actually banned in Nigeria. So you
No, it's
really,
legal. I
really-
think right now it's legal. And
It has been opened
it's
back?
been legalized.
Yes, it was good. Open it up, tax. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. But it is we are taxed on everything. One day we'll be taxed on oxygen as well. But
At this point.
let us even see that these taxes are being made to work. I cannot pay tax on this, tax on this. That is a lot of tax. Can we have one? This multiple taxation system needs to be abolished. That's one. We need to have one tax, and then you go to FIRS. They have your details. If we put my name now, or my BVN, or my NIN, my details will come up. All of the taxes, whether I'm a registered business, I'm a this, everything comes up. I know how much I'm expected to pay to FIRS once every month, and then nobody is harassing me any other place, because this is not rocket science. If you put my name, if I'm registered with FRSC for road whatever, my name will come up. You can see basically all of my details. You are the government in the US, right? In most developed countries, they have their social security number that once you put there, everything pops up. Every record about this individual. So we should have that. That's what our NIN should be. It is not rocket science. We have moved beyond this, and we should not be here anymore.
And you see, what IG said really brought us back to the concept of corruption, how corruption have gone deeper into our roots. And I think there's a need for proper cleansing. Because we've seen the actors of corruption. We have political actors, we have military rulers, we have bureaucrats, bureaucrats, civil servants inflating contracts. We have business elites not doing the contract, giving you 400 kilometers and they're delivering 3 kilometers. We've seen it. This one is not news. It's not tales by moonlight. This is something that have happened. We've seen even the EFCC accused of corruption. People that are supposed to be fighting. We've seen international banks and companies that are facilitating money laundering. And they don't know how this affects us. As it affects us.
I feel like it affects us because it is now down to our social values. Because what we see is now what people are trying to practice. You see the youngsters now also dreaming to be in that position. Because what you're studying in school is not what you're seeing in reality. We've seen the likes of Dino Malai, we've seen the likes of Wiki, owning luxurious cars, people in Senate. The total breakdown of their salary does not equate or does not equal what they own. So where is this money coming from? These are not people that are known to be businessmen. These are not people that are known to have venture or, lucrative businesses. Barry, you would agree with me, that the total if you give a total breakdown of the salary of a member of House of Reps or House of Senate, it's the National Assembly, sorry. It's crazy compared to what they own. So those who are young, those who are in secondary, those who are in university are just looking forward. That's why I mentioned that we owe corruption. It's not like we just have corruption as a problem. We are owing corruption. People are waiting to get into that position to be corrupt. What do you think?
Yeah, basically everybody's waiting for their turn. Everybody's waiting for their share of the national cake. But we hope we see a different turn of events anytime soon. It's our Independence Day. I hope that we get to see like remarkable changes even in our economic situation as a nation as well.
Well, again, I don't know, after all this discussion, if we can say happy Independence Day or happy Democracy Day. But regardless, we are still having an anniversary of Independence Day.
65
anniversary.
years.
65 years is not
say no
easy.
to corruption, say no to tribalism, say no to religious conflicts, say no to first banditry, most especially corruption. Emphasis on corruption. Say no to corruption. This is the root of our problem. So corruption.
So dear Nigeria and Nigerians, happy 65 years. I remain Abbas Muhammad.
Fellow Nigerians. Dash Independence Day. Decide what you want to put there as a image of Mahatma.
And I want to assure you that you'll see change, hopefully. And I'm Mohammed Kabir.
Happy Independence Day, Nigeria.